Alrighty, I think I'm live now.
Why?
It's hard to tell because I can't see my own screen. There we are. I am live. Hey, William. William Britton is on.
Yay.
Yeah, William, I finally got a setup for my camera that's kind of practical. Kind of. So how you doing, William? What you up to? What are you doing tonight? Yeah, my hand is doing all the work. William is always doing stuff.
Yeah.
He's got his new job at the OHSU, auditioned for a musical, and he's getting an organ. Over here, we're good. Just crazy busy. Yeah. All the usual stuff. I just figured I'm going to try and do more live videos like this, like even if I'm not talking much or whatever. I've been doing a few of them over on TikTok, and I just kind of like let it play while I'm working. Don't really say anything. But now it looks like TikTok is going away, because Zuckerberg and Musk don't want it around. They can spy on us, but yeah. Yeah. Cats are being fed. Coffee is brewed.
Coffee this late?
You're having coffee at this hour? Well, you're young. You can handle it. Never mind. I'm working out. I can't really say. It's kind of obvious, but I can't say. But I got a lot going on right now, so it's just nuts. It's hard to schedule a freelance life. You'll have projects that kind of wait. Like they'll tell you, publishers will be like, "Yeah, we're going to do this thing." Then you make space for it for a little while, and then time goes by, and you still don't know. Shit. So then you move on because you got to do other stuff. Got to keep busy, and then that project will come back to life. And now you've got 2 projects, or 3, or 4, all at the same time. 7. I mean, I think I literally have 5 projects right now. That I'm doing relatively simultaneously. Different schedules and stuff, but hey, Shelly, it's Shelly Pleasure. Nice to hear from you. Yeah, feast or famine, to say it. I mean, in my case, I basically just kind of say yes to everything and then figure out this later, because, well, that's the reality of working.
Freelance.
Thank you, as a freelancer. Because you just can't really schedule projects. You can't. They depend a lot on your publisher schedules or your partner schedules and stuff like that. So yeah, if you wait for things because you've committed to something, they'll end up unemployed and poor. So I just say yes, and then I just try and figure out the schedule later. Hey, Mr. Crook, Mr. Tyler Crook. Yeah, let me see. I'll count off what I'm working on right now. There's 1 monthly book. There's Project Blue Book. There's a new Hellboy related kind of thing. There's a graphic novel that I'd committed to that kind of went away and came back. And there's one other thing that I'm forgetting. Oh, there's one other project that I had started during all of these other things that is happening right after the graphic novel thing happens. But basically, I'm doing the monthly and Blue Book and at the same time while fitting in this other graphic novel, and then there's this other project waiting on the side. And it's, I don't plan it to all kind of overlap. Sometimes they just say yes to a project, and then it sits around and you wait for it, and then you're like, well, okay, now I have to do this other thing so that I can pay the bills and stuff. And then suddenly that other project that was quiet for a long time is back. And then, well, you can't back out of something just because something else came along. I mean, a sane person would. A sane person would explain things to people and be like, I can't do this project now or whatever, but not me. How about you, Tyler? What are you doing? Yeah, Tyler, you get in trouble if you just everything. It's Galaxy Madness. Yeah, Galaxy. All of my art on Galaxy is done. I've done all the covers up to issue 10. So luckily that's finished. BPRD is finished. That's coming out this month. The William of Newberry trade paperback is coming out this month. I still plan on doing more William of Newberry, but obviously it's got to wait a little bit. One of the things I'm doing in the meantime for William is I am working on a sketchbook, like a really detailed sketchbook. Dark Horse has some extra sketches in the trade paperback, but I'm working on like a really behind the scenes and sort of processy book. So I'll have that out in the meantime until I can get back to William. Because, I really like that book. I want to do more. So, let me back up a little bit. I'll show you kind of how I started this page. These layouts like this. This first layer that's like this light purple, I kind of sketched out super light. Then I do another layer. This layer is like this opacity pencil where I tighten up things. And so a second layer like this where I tighten up even more, like especially faces and hands. But generally I go right from here to my inks. And the first stage of the inks is just these kind of like layout, not layout, like I call it like the coloring book style. So it's like the first couple of passes have no rendering or shadows or anything like that. And it's just the outlines to just make sure that the figures look right and stuff like that. And then I'll go in and do shadows and stuff. The main things that I do is just trying to have a forward momentum, which is to like, if something looks wonky, I'll just leave it wonky, unless it's really horrible. And then once I've done that sort of outline process, I'll go in and start fixing things. Because the whole point is just to have momentum keep going forward. Because if I sit there and noodle everything and try to make everything perfect, it's just going to slow me down. So like the main thing that I want is, have things keep going. That William, the Newberry sketchbook is going to be a Kickstarter. But of course, even that takes up a lot of time and stuff. So I've got it mostly put together because I'm not going to like do an in-depth page by page blow or anything like that. So it's, I just can't commit to a book like that at this point. So it's mostly just, there's a lot of pages that I have planned in there. I'm not like writing any heavy articles or anything like that for it. There'll just be some introduction pages. And I'll sort of talk a little bit about the process here and there. But generally, it's just going to be an art-heavy book, One of the things I like to do, so I'm using a lot of, what's it called? The perspective tool. But the perspective tool also like lays out all these lines like really perfectly. So then I have to like take a little bit of time to go in and Um, you can feel a little more organic, like especially with these bricks. I'll just go in and trace over it, just so it doesn't feel so cold. Yeah, Shelly, I see what you're saying. Yeah, definitely. I mean, wing analog, it just has such a more organic feel to it. The trade off is just speed. And right now, as I was explaining, like the amount of projects I've going on, speed is like the thing that dictates everything else. So this page is mostly done. I've got some stuff I want to do. I'm not crazy with how this. What are these kind of benches called? Like a picnic bench. I'm not crazy with the way. So, on my Wacom where I've got a little more space, I'm going to rework it and draw it. Maybe use like an actual model, like Google SketchUp or something. I mean, I can get away with it as it is. I'm just not in love with it. So there are certain things that I won't finish on this just because of the space. Yeah. And sometimes I like to do something like I'll just make a new layer and just fill it all in black like this, and then see what it looks like. I kind of dig this. So what I'm going to do is make a new layer, make sure that there's no area scaling on this, meaning this black line is not going to overdrop anything else. Then I'll lower the opacity, and then I'll just start to erase here. This erase his ear. And I'll touch this up afterwards. Oh. And then I can have fun like something like this, which I really dig. Oops. So kind of cut into it a little bit. I'm going to lose some nice lines, but that's okay. I'm all about the finished page, not like how nice the line works. Look, can't be precious about everything. Okay. Somebody named Rodak is evidently in everybody's chat. Actually, let me do this. Just do some abstract stuff here. And then you just got these neat shapes behind stuff that sort of helps, highlight stuff. Works really well with circles too. All right, now I'll flatten that. Oops. It's pretty big. One of the other things that I try to do to keep everything simple, I don't really change my brush size very often. I almost use the same brush size for everything, and I just try and keep it lighter on sections than others. lighter meaning, you know, just use a really fine line instead of switching brushes. That way, I'm just saving time by not having to go back and forth with, you know, changing brushes, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it does eat into your time. And again, like I'm really working for speed these days. By speed, I mean like I find ways to streamline the process, you know. Like I let mistakes lay at first, and then I can fix them, or decide, you know, like in the context of the rest of the page, it looks fine. Sometimes I don't like a figure or face or mouth or hand or an eye, but then when the rest of the page drawn, it doesn't matter. That's weird. I don't know what that is. I think it's an accident. Maybe that was his neck. I don't know. So basically these 3 pages here, I started yesterday. I think yesterday morning I started these pages. I think. And now I'm just in the process of just going through all these details and finishing them. Pardon me. There's a figure on here I really don't that I had to rework several different times. All right, William. I'll see you later, man.
He left.
Yeah, William left. Can you believe it?
Sad.
He's bored of me.
Oh. No, I'm not bored of you.
Here's another fun trick. I'll just make the brush really big, lower the opacity, then I can then just do some black spotting. The figure I didn't like, I reworked it a bunch of times. Still not super happy with it, but it's fine. Yeah, I do try and thank you. I do try and just limit that brush size. I mean, I will sometimes go in, especially make it smaller for certain kinds of details. You know, sometimes you just gotta. But generally, just for the sake of efficiency, to keep the page moving, I try to keep it to one brush size and just be careful with how I'm using the brush. I also think it's really important to use a brush with some texture on it. Like when you zoom in here, you know, if it's too smooth, it looks even more artificial than digital art can end up looking anyway. So some grit in your brush goes along, I think. And then there'll be some backgrounds here too. I got to figure out what I'm going to do. And, you know, like I'm zooming in here, but I'm really, really, really keeping in mind of how much I'm zooming in because you just get lost in details or you start noodling around and making like really fine lines that stick out really poorly because clearly you've zoomed in a lot. And I really gotta like muddy this up. It looks so clean. These lines back here, the artificial, but it's also most going to be covered where balloons in those panels, so it also doesn't really matter that much. Oops, I fixed my brush size because I made it brush size like really big. True Grip Micro. I'm using something called Real G Pen. I need to learn how to make brushes in Clip Studio, and even just downloading brushes. Because I bought some and then I couldn't figure out how to download them, or I did, and then I lost them and I forgot how to do it. I'm really almost so late when it comes to technology and stuff, so I tend to just work with whatever's on the, just whatever I got, you know. I really admire people who, like, they have all these crazy brush sets and they're working stuff like crazy. So I just kind of tend to just deal with whatever I got. Oh yeah, I want this arrow here is because sometimes I'll draw stuff and I know it's just not working like this, so I'll just kind of draw an arrow at it to remind myself. Remind myself to fix it. Yeah, Shelly, I like that idea. Use just a few brushes.
Is that Shelly Bond?
Shelly Pledger. Met her down in Eugene. She draws Dick Tracy for years.
Oh yeah.
Ah,
Well, hello.
Taki says hello, Shelly. Stop it, cat. My cat wants to be fed, so they start tearing on things. Little terrorists.
Don't run to terrorists.
Yeah. Shelly says hi, Taki.
Yay.
I don't know how to do it here in my Clip Studio, but like this area here, I'm actually going to do in, I'm going to invert it so there's like a black shadow here, and then you can see the white lines. Probably figure it out, but I'm also kind of tired, so like my brain's just not working great. My brain often doesn't work great. Or well. My brain doesn't work
Your brain good.
good. But I feel really lucky because unless I have mental exhaustion, actually drawing while I'm not thinking clearly and stuff, I'm pretty exhausted. Otherwise, I can still do it somehow. Excuse me. Muscle memory. That's right. I don't have a lot of brain muscles, but the little bit that I do. Works pretty good. See, I was this arrow here is just pointing at something I wanted to fix. I think it's kind of okay. I guess slop here, but it's so small, it doesn't really matter. All right, let's fix this face. Create a new layer. I think it's the outline of his face that's messing me up. Oh, if you can see these cats, they are just being cats. No, stop. All right, I think that's all that was bugging me about the face. Yeah. Alright, I think this is good for now. I need to take a break. Feed these cats. Maybe play some games. I'm back. Good night, Mr. Tyler Crook. I will tell Taki said hi. She's right here. Alright, gang. Maybe I'll be back on later. Thanks for hanging out.